Welcome to the Focus on Why podcast. I'm Amy Rowlandson and I ask my guests one simple question. Why? Focusing on the importance of why, I share with you the relatable, uplifting and inspiring conversations I have with people from all walks of life. This podcast will encourage you to focus on your why to enable and empower you to achieve the success you desire. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why. Before we get started, are you thinking of creating a podcast or are you a podcast host already? As a podcast strategist, I can help you to launch or relaunch a purposeful and profitable podcast, which will inspire, entertain, and educate a global audience. Simply book in a one-to-one call with me right now via the Calendly link in the show notes, and together we'll focus on the purpose of your podcast. Today on Focus on Why, I am joined by Silvia Del Corso. Welcome, Sylvia.
Hello, Amy. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a joy.
It is a joy indeed. So tell me, what is it you're doing at the moment, Sylvia?
I'm excited to be discovering what our conversation will bring forward in terms of exchanging ideas. And it's always great when we start talking, and then it can be a little bit unpredictable what else comes out. But yeah, for the rest, it's a normal working day, so a little bit grey and gloomy, but can be good anyway.
Excellent. And this exchange of ideas, is this something that happens for you a lot?
Well, I really like talking to people, and regardless if it's business owners or someone in the local community, in my network of connections, I really think that whenever we are discussing topics and very insightful ones, like today we're talking about purpose. There's always so much that comes out in terms of reflections and things that I hadn't thought before.
Yeah, I love that. So tell me, what does purpose mean to you?
Well, in the end, reaching now my 40s, it's changed with me, and now my purpose is happiness. And it's very personal. Everyone finds their happiness in different ways. For me in particular, it's very rooted into the family values and the way we are strongly connected with each other. Also through everything we've gone through together, we've been expatriating from Italy to here. And there's been a lot of huge life changes, and now there is this new reality. So new national identity, if you want, finding my new place, my new who I am. Work-wise, I had to relaunch the company. So again, even that needed to be shaped in a new dimension, a new identity. And it's something that brings me joy. So if I'm trying to follow that as my compass, I naturally ending up making choices that and to make me happy. So following the gut instinct of what feels good and what doesn't. And if something doesn't feel good, it's about asking myself, what is in that thing that I don't really like and why? And in the end, we don't really know how long we've got on the planet. So it's worth trying to be as happy as can be.
Wow. So, just reaching your 40s and having these midlife beginnings is a natural process for most people. But for you to then have pushed on top of that all of these different layers for the huge life layers that you've had, which is a new business, a new country, and a new identity as well. I mean, that's a lot to take on.
Yeah, I know. I haven't fully finished digesting it, and I don't know if I ever will fully digest it. But I'm going mini bite at the time, day by day, and just trying to. Because in the beginning it was a lot, it was overwhelming. But it's a choice that we should have done before, and never regretted it. It's been the best choice ever that we could have ever done, because Italy is a fantastic place, but we weren't that happy there because of the economic conditions and the way we used to live. We were running a marketing agency, a web and marketing agencies, and it wasn't thriving. The businesses are struggling to stay open, so they can't invest in digital assets. So with 2 young kids and trying to give them a future, then we've done this massive leap of faith, and it's been great because I mean, London is my place. It's the most amazing city that I've seen so far, and I feel like I really belong. And even the English culture, if you want, it's something that I feel that I actually resonate here. So if you think of a spirit affinity with somewhere, I feel I'm pretty in the right place. I still have the luck to be able to go to and fro, so I managed to keep contact with the family and people, but not as much as it would be. So you feel a lot of loneliness in the beginning, a lot of sense of homesick and where is my place and so on. So it's a lot, but it's something that's for the best. The kids are really thriving here. Business has been really thriving as well. So yeah, I couldn't be happier with the choice that we've done.
And I want to pick up on that. Happiness is your purpose. And you just said you couldn't be happier here. How do you define or measure happiness for yourself?
Well, in the little things, not in the huge things. So it doesn't have to be having incredible assets or something like that. It's feeling that I'm aligned with my values, with what matters for me. So even the choices that I've done not to go to work in a company or in a corporate using my skill set. I was doing SEO even before, and actually running a business, it was something that I was enjoying. I was disappointed that it couldn't work in Italy, but I like being my own boss. So I wanted to restart putting something up, and I followed the instinct. I've gone through some mistakes, definitely, but the way I measure how happy I am is actually if I feel that I'm aligned with what with what I feel that is right and wrong. It's that internal sense, and even in the choices that I do in business, all of the ethical choices, so like paying employees the London living wage and keeping aligned with certain specific good ethical practices is something that in the end pays off in terms of happiness. So if I feel that I'm aligned with my values, that I'm being my best me, then it's okay. It can't be perfect, but it's going in the right direction.
And it's interesting because your business is something that you could have worked remotely from Italy. You could have set this kind of business up there, no? Or
it would be difficult to be able to work with international clients whilst still being based in Italy, because actually even here local communities are strong, and being part of the West London local community, being part of the chambers of commerce, being part of local business communities is something that in the end helps me to recreate a little bit of a network of people around me, because when you cut all of your ties, then as I said, you end up feeling lonely. But also for the business, because then you get to know people and they get to know you, and it would not have happened if I was still there.
I get it. I understand. And what I want to sort of pull on, the thread that I really would like to understand, is this gut instinct of the feeling. And it's a knowing that you have that you said it's with the following the instinct and the values. What are the values, and how do you get that? What happens when you get the feeling?
Well, it's something that in some cases will tell me if something is worth fighting for a little bit. For example, there may be dynamics within the team that need to be polished. And I may feel if something is really worth fighting for, and there are people they are worth keeping, and then it's a matter of smoothing some angles, making sure that some processes work better. But that is something that my gut instinct is telling me that is the right type of people that I want around me, because again, they share the same sort of culture and values and attitude. So yeah, it's difficult to explain, but on a daily basis, sometimes the instinct comes before the reasoning. So then the reasoning steps back, asking, why do I feel this way? Why does this thing feel odd? What is actually that triggered the feeling? What is going on here?
And is this a way that you've always operated in making decisions, Sylvia?
Well, it's odd because my husband is as rational as can be. He is a software developer. He's been developing code all his life. So he's very rational. Everything is 1 or 0. And it's really easy for him to go around situations because it's very clear and analytical. In my case, emotions tend to have a role, but I've discovered it's not a negative role, because going side by side with emotional intelligence has actually helped me dealing with people, having relationship, understanding what's going on, understanding what might be behind some sort of situations. So yes, I think that's been my default mode ever since.
I love that. So a default mode of this emotional intelligence. And tell me about the spirit affinity that you have with English culture, and how spirit affinity just manifests in your life.
I don't know. It's something that I noticed more and more times. People sometimes they pointing out how, for example, you don't easily interact with others when you're sitting on a public transport. And for me, it's okay. I mean, maybe because I'm deep down, I'm an introvert, even if you wouldn't say that. But I am happy not having to talk to someone who's a stranger and it's sitting next to me. But also the politeness. I mean, people all the time and every time being courteous and kind and polite. And it's very distant from the Italian way, because the Italians are much more warm-blooded, and you will see this strong impact of emotions, and I'm not really prepared for that. I don't really want to be meddling so much with other people's emotions.
So tell me, leap of faith. You've come over, you've got this new reality, this new identity, and it says you're following joy. What brings you joy is your compass. And you mentioned values. What are your values?
Well, the deepest values that I have are rooted in the family here. So, and that is again what has driven me through many of the choices that I've done. So when we came here, my son was 7 and my daughter was 4, and I always felt that they needed to feel the presence of us parents much closer than the peers. So they need to be able to have this very strong sense of attachment with us and relationship with us, and know that they can speak with us anytime about anything. And so I wanted to be there physically and morally and spiritually. So that is something that in the end tells me if something is right or wrong. If I feel that there is something that is off, is when I feel that I'm prioritizing other things than not what is most worth for me. So if you think of the 5 regrets of the dying, the only real regret that I may have is if I hadn't really been there for them the way that they need, because all the rest is secondary. The business, the work, the money, but being there to be able to leave them, then able to go on in the world as balanced, as stable as can be, that's the purpose for me as a mother. So I brought them to this world, and my main responsibility is making sure that when they are on their own, they are as stable, as balanced, as happy as possible. So I try to transmit to them the values, the sense of ethics, the sense of all the little knowledge that I have, all the little things that I can, how to interpret the world that can be so confusing in so many situations. So that at least I've created 2 new human beings that can be decent and can be able to then create other human beings that can be decent and so on.
And how old are they now, Sylvia?
My son is nearly 15 and my daughter is 11. And it's nice because my son, for example, everybody's complaining about teenagers and how challenging they can be. They are my best friends. And with all the moments in which we may have different views and the rare moments in which I have to impose myself as the adult of the situation. So yes, okay, you don't want to do this, but I have to tell you this needs to be done because, but apart from these moments, it's good to see that we chat all the time, and they are more mature and wise than me in many situations. So they're actually my guide in some times in which I just feel that I don't know what to do, and I like them as people. I really like them.
Oh, it's so lovely to hear, because I had the same experience of my children. Well, my husband and I have had the same experience in that we've formed such a great, strong relationship with the children, and they're now 20 and 17. And again, like you, I didn't have, or I'll say we, because it's my husband and I, we didn't have those conflicts in the teenage years. We didn't have that high emotion, the slamming doors, the things that people say happens. And I do think it is about having them as peers, as friends, as equals, and understanding, yes, there is a dynamic here that we are the parents and they are the children, but it's founded on respect and trust. And what you were sharing there about how, they're your best friends, and that now there are some situations where they can be more mature than you. It's because you've given them that equal footing to allow themselves to be expressed, to allow themselves to have independent thought. And for me, that is what being a parent's all about.
Yeah, and even respecting the moments in which they're wrong. Because I know, for example, teenage people, they're developing their brain, and there are moments in which my 15 years old is a 4 years old child, and it's fun, it's just cute. I mean, I try not to get cross because I know that that's part of it. So I respect the way he is, and I like the way he is. And definitely if they do something wrong, I'm the first person who tells them this can be dangerous, this is wrong, this can't be done, absolutely, I don't want you to be doing this because this is what can happen. And believe me, whatever you can think of, I've been through nearly all of that. So, and also, please tell me everything. I promise I won't get cross, but I need to know everything, because if I don't know stuff, I may not be able to protect you or to guide you. So again, I've been through anything and everything that you can imagine, and whatever you face, I somehow been around that, so I can tell you what can happen. What is so I won't get cross. I just need to know what's going on to be able to guide you, to help you avoid bad moments.
And your purpose as a mother, how has that shaped you in other areas of your life?
Well, it's shaped me a lot because all the rest has gone around that. So even the way the business is going and the way I understand the other people working with me. My team members have got families, and when there is something going on with that family, with their family, there is nothing that's more important than that. So if the client is in need of something, but you have an issue with your family, we'll find a way of dealing with the client, but you need to focus on your family first. So I know that even for them, some things are priorities and some things are just messing life up, like, I don't know, teacher strikes and all of the things that can happen last minute. And it's okay. I mean, we'll find ways around dealing with anything that can happen. And it's just disrupting the normal order of things that happen. So, yeah, the way I'm trying to organize my days, trying to keep lighter the holidays. So I rather decline some opportunities because I rather choose spending time with them. So in those weeks, in that time, I rather prefer keeping a low rhythm and booking more before and after, making sure that I can actually be there and enjoy what I know that is me. It's personal. So that is just what makes me happy in the end.
And again, there's that happiness as well. What makes you happy? It's fabulous. Tell me, you use the expression of "bring me joy as a compass." What else other than family brings you joy?
Well, feeling happy comes from many little more. It mainly comes from inside. And that is something that I've been trying to fix all the lives. So I've been through lots of different mental situations. So trying to find my way around depression and so on is anxiety and all of that has been like a constant ever since I was a very young child. So in the end, what I've come to so far realize is that it needs to come from a good relationship with myself. So being able to understand my alarm lights when I feel that I'm not really feeling well, then I'm the only one who can rectify that. So I just need to be a little bit more careful and focused on how I feel and how I should instead be feeling. Why is this not the right for me in this moment, and then trying to find solution. It may not be possible to align, for example, with my need to be on the beach, on the seaside, if I'm here, or to go snowing. But there are those many things that in the end that can bring you joy. It's just a matter of allowing yourself that little bit of luxury, or I don't know, stopping everything and having a hot bath, because yeah, it's trying to be a little bit kinder with myself, which is not, it's a constant work in progress.
I was not expecting that answer. What a really beautiful and vulnerable position that you have just shared with us about the experiences that you've had since you're a child, and you mentioned anxiety and depression. And it seems to be the way that in the conversations I have with people, the purpose piece comes from personal experience, and there's often a more darker moment that has been the catalyst to understanding purpose, to understanding how purpose shows up in your life. And for you, it's understanding that the mental situations that you've experienced, or the mental health situations, and that it is down to you to rectify that. yeah, you've had external assistance in that process. But as a mother now, like hearing the way that you have parented, was that different to the experiences that you had?
Let's go get into that. It's a long story, and it's been a difficult story. Everybody's tried their best, but it was a very challenging situation. But yeah, let's just say that there's been a lot of issues, mental issues in the past. So it teaches you things. It teaches you how things should be and should not be, what can happen, what you don't want to happen, absolutely. So yeah, there are lessons to be taught, and everything that happens for a reason. So it's difficult to understand, but after a while you kind of find a meaning in understanding that. And religion as well, everybody's got their own faith, but for me it is again a big compass, what is right and wrong, what is ethical and what is not. So if there is a reason, whatever happens is what I can learn from that. What type of person I am now is also because of everything. So yeah, what I can do now to try and make it right for the future, for them, for me, for yeah.
So is this work in progress for your rest of your lifetime?
Yeah, indeed, because I don't think that I can ever say now I'm perfect. Now I'm really the person that I should be. No, I mean, we are humans and we do mistakes. And even if it's hard to admit it, because every time we do mistakes, then we start all of the blame, shame game. So yeah, I've done this, I'm this type of person, and so on. Instead, yeah, we do this sort of mistakes, and then we should learn from that.
Well, I'm sure that in reflection, listening to what you've shared here, that the measurement of what you're feeling is so key, and most people don't have that reflection. They just go through life on autopilot. They just keep going without stopping and pausing and reflecting, and then shifting and changing and making different decisions as a result of what they've learned about themselves. And what I've heard here is huge self-exploration that has allowed you to trust, to know, and to feel, and to allow decisions to come from that space instead of just being the rational decisions.
Yeah, if you don't do that sort of exploration, then you may face problems down the line in the future later. So I rather prefer facing them day by day when they're small, rather than finding huge things that then I don't know how to fix later on. So yeah, it's a way of trying to prevent, if possible, bad scenarios by re-evaluating as closely as possible if I'm there or not. Because I know that if I ignore the signals, then I end up in situations that I don't like. So it's a sort of preventative thing.
For sure. I was not expecting the conversation to go this way. I never know where we're going to go on these conversations.
It's nice. Yeah.
I love it. I love it that's what purpose does. It takes you into such an incredible space and understands more about who you are and why you do what you do. So thank you for sharing your journey.
I didn't expect this either, but I didn't know what to expect, which is good. Yeah.
So tell me, Sylvia, anybody who would like to get in contact with you, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Well, working wise, the company's website is PinkSEO.marketing, and you can find me on LinkedIn, Sylvia with an I, the Italian spelling, because everybody always gets confused. Yeah, then the company you find on every social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. But yeah, I'm always on LinkedIn and email all the time when I'm not with the kids.
Fabulous. Well, I'll make sure all the links go into the show notes so that you can get hold of Sylvia. If you'd like to talk more about life, or if you'd like to talk more about Pink SEO marketing, then Sylvia is your person. Thank you, Sylvia. It's been an absolute delight. Do you have some final words, please?
I don't know. Try to be happy. Yeah, that's what we can do. I say that is the thing that it sounds easy, but it's not. Becomes very complex because it's very different. My way of being happy can be different from yours, from my neighbors, from my kids. I mean, everybody needs to find what really needs to align with what you think is right.
How has this conversation had an impact on you? What value have you received from tuning in? What are your reflections with actions? Please take a moment to leave me an Apple Podcast or Spotify review sharing how Focus on Why has made a difference to you today. Remember, the conversation doesn't end here. To keep it going, simply connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook or Twitter, or join the Focus on Why Facebook group. All the links are in the show notes. Have a purpose, have a plan, focus on why.